Happy Tuesday afternoon, everybody. My name is Hamilton. I'm here at the Trading Initiative, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at some future leaders. Yes, once per week, we go out and we look for recent IPOs that are potentially showing some leadership qualities. This is a great setup that we have been longing all year. Very, very high success rate with this specific setup. So given the fact that the market has really rebounded over the last 2 weeks, we figured that running this scan once again was going to yield great results, and it has. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look through some of these stocks on the Future Leaders Report. Once again, these are recent IPOs going back 3 years that are showing leadership qualities, that IPO range breakout high setup that we love to trade. You're going to see a lot of those on this particular scan. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pull it up. So what we're looking to do here is, like I said, recent IPOs going back 3 years. Looking for strength. We throw some technicals on top of it, some volume requirements, some momentum requirements. There are a lot of stocks that have IPO'd in the last 3 years that suck. So we need the best to kind of rise to the top. And then we filter those and arrange them by proximity to 52-week highs. So we're looking at what's breaking out, right? New all-time highs and or new yearly highs is generally what we're looking for first. But we will occasionally find stage 1 into stage 2 breakouts as well following this setup. So without further ado, let's actually go through a couple of these. If you're inside of TTI, you know that we already have positions in a couple of these names and they're performing well. We have an opportunity to add into a couple of them and in certain circumstances start brand new positions, right? So one name right off the top there, VLTO. If we go ahead and pull that up, this is a name that we have been trading all year. And there's an opportunity to potentially add more up at that 110 pivot. Currently trading 109.42. This has been a relatively slower mover for us, but a consistent winner all year. Once again, for those of you that are newer to TTI or are not yet a member, this IPO range breakout high setup works wonderfully during bull markets. Price equilibrium has not been found. These things are brand new to the market. Supply and demand is all out of whack. Demand generally outcompetes supply during bull markets, right? That's what creates these uptrends. And so here we have VLTO breaking up and over 83.5 way back in Q1 of 2024, and it's been up and to the right pretty much the entire time since. Opportunity here on a software stock that moves a little bit slower to add in above the 110, 112 pivot there, and we will be looking to add in here on VLTO. This is an all-time high move today once again. Has pulled back slightly intraday, down 0.13%, but an all-time high move. So VLTO, first one right off the top, looks really good for us. The second one that we're looking at, or we have been looking at, but unfortunately we were unable to actually get a piece of because it just had run too far, was this American healthcare name. And this is what I'm talking about when I mean these IPO range breakouts can really run for an extended period of time. Try not to time the top on these things. That's what kind of makes these things so beneficial to your portfolio is the market doesn't know what to price these at. They're brand new to the market. So when you catch the right market conditions, which 2024 has been the right market condition to be long, a lot of these can continue to run for an extended period of time. This is a healthcare related stock. I believe it's a nursing related stock. I think that this particular company owns lots of nursing homes, etc. Off of the $15 breakout, got a rebound off of the original entry off of ER and up and to the right. $20 stock incoming here very shortly off of a $15 price or risk on area. Excuse me. Now, this is a stock that once again we were planning on trading, but unfortunately got away from us. It just was very hard to enter this stock, particularly during the Monday drawdown, which everything was drawing down. Was this really the stock that you wanted to buy? But this goes to show you the power of the actual setup. So this is what this particular scan is looking to find, setups that will move a lot in a relatively short amount of time. The next trade that we've taken before, we do not have a current position in, but I was looking at it earlier today, is this JXN, excuse me. So we do not have a current position in JXN, but once again, you can see the very easy IPO range breakout high. I'm not saying that every single one of these is going to work, obviously not, but the risk to reward on these is incredibly high. JXN, giving us a new opportunity to own more above 91.5, currently down 4.74% today off of a 3.99 ADR. That's really not that big of a move, to be honest. We'll see where we're at in the coming days. But a break above 91.5, and I'm assuming that we're going to be going ahead and adding more exposure. Now, not all of these are going to be options trades. Unfortunately, some of the options chains on these are weak, but they are great shares trades. You're looking at 4, 5, 6, 7% ADR. The only people that don't want to trade shares on those are people that don't actually make money trading. They're convinced that options trading is the only way to go, and it's just simply not true. Obviously, in right circumstances, options are preferable. For example, if you're in TTI, go check out that Netflix trade idea. But don't be afraid to add some shares as well. Shark Ninja, trade that we've been in since February, continues to work for us, and we are looking to add in here as early as tomorrow. We're looking for a break above the 91.75 area. This is a consolidation fractal off of a massive gap up on a power earnings gap. We like these types of setups. We don't try to time these, though. I think that's important. There's no ego involved in any of this. Once again, IPO range breakout highs continue to work for us for the majority of the year. Opportunity to add here Shark Ninja above the 91.75 area. It's just a pivot above the high and tight that we're being given right now, right? Very little white space in between this consolidation fractal from the highs and the lows. We're looking to add more in above 91.75. So really nice looking clean uptrend here on Shark Ninja. And by the way, when Shark Ninja first came across the scans, I had no idea what it was. I thought they had just made blenders. It turns out that they make a wide array of consumer appliances. So there you go. Who would have expected Shark Ninja would be one of the bigger winners on the year? And yet here it is. PHIN. Now this is a name that's a little bit harder to trade. Some really choppy price action over the last few months, but a solid resolution to the upside over 46.50 would give me and us the opportunity. Let's turn this off log here. Give us the opportunity to add in here up towards the $50 to $55 price target. And what's really great about this is because we have such an extended base here that we're looking to resolve to the upside, you don't need a very wide stop loss. So you can really crank the risk to reward on something like this. You're in a bullish momentum regime. Price is above an upward sloping 200-day moving average, and this is a massive 4.69 ADR. So from a shares perspective, this is a good setup, and from an option standpoint, there are available plays on the chain to an all-time high setting, right? So as long as we pivot up and out of this consolidation fractal, we want exposure, and the stop loss is going to be tightly managed right underneath range high. This is a trade idea, along with Shark Ninja. Those are both up on the market research portal. Good opportunity to own a winner all year into a continuation. Just like Finia, which is an auto parts name, ATMU also has some cross exposure there. Should it be a surprise that this is somewhat of the same type of fractal? No, it's another rounded bottom, continuation fractal. We want to be long as we're above 33.5, which right now we're actually below it, so we're not looking to add in here, but if we have a position, we know where our stops are. Go ahead and delete this really quick. But it's a relatively high R setup, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, depending on where you're able to get filled. Not all of these are going to work, but when they do, obviously, a 5 to 1 setup has something like a 15% break-even win rate. Take enough 5 to 1s, win a couple of them, you should be up. These 5 to 1 setups don't come across, at least our trade desk, very often. So when we get these 5 to 10 to 1, which right now we do have a 10 to 1 trade on the books right now that is working, we want to take these opportunities, right? So ATMU above 33.5, continuation fractal, just like PHIN, 3.11 ADR, upward sloping 200-day moving average, price trading above it, inside of a bullish momentum regime into all-time highs. Not a bad little setup there, ATMU as well. So both PHIN and ATMU are going to probably be relatively the same trade. So the way that I would attack this is I would look at one versus the other. Whichever one makes more sense, I would grab that one. There's no need to grab exposure in both. They share industry groups. They also have the exact same setup. Assuming one reacts the same way as the other, there is a positive correlation between the two. By grabbing both, you are just increasing risk on the same trade idea. It doesn't make much sense, right? So pick one or the other if you like either of those. LTH, Lifetime Group, is a trade that we look to get long some shares. You can see the little entry there above 22.25. Very basic IPO range breakout. Really hard to mess this one up. Now, this is a shares only trade. There is no real options play available. Relatively high risk to reward setup because we grabbed this as it had already broken out and pulled back. We're able to get our stop loss up right underneath that overhead supply. Crank that risk to reward up really high. This is a high R2R setup via shares. Once again, bullish momentum regime. Price trading north of an upward sloping 200-day moving average into an all-time high. This one's a little bit more unique because the IPO range itself has been being built out for the last 2+ years. So normally we don't get a 2+ year range on these IPO ranges. In this case, lifetime, we did. And so we're taking advantage of it, expecting that the bigger the base, the bigger the breakout. Price target up near $30. I think it's totally reasonable. Sit, wait. As long as we're above that 22.5 pivot, there's really no reason to freak out about LTH. This is a winning trade for us so far. TEM. Here's one that a couple guys inside of the Discord grabbed a couple days ago. Massive moves. You can see some of the chicken scratch. We were talking about this on the Sunday night strat session. There really just wasn't enough there to convince me that we should be getting long TEM. This is a shares only trade. A couple guys inside of the Discord took the initiative on Friday to get in off of the horizontal level breakout. By the time we looked at it on Sunday, we were looking for a potential pullback. You can see the potential pullback that we had drawn. We never got it. So the guys that got in early are getting paid up today, potentially into the future. Massive 9.11 ADR. There's a lot of people that would look at this chart and say there's not enough data for me to want to get long. What the hell was this? And while I tend to agree that I would prefer a range be built out over the course of a couple months, the beauty and simplicity of these specific IPO range breakouts is that there's not enough data there. There is some something to worry about. So therefore, you get a lot of people that start to short this stuff into the highs, and then obviously those can get squeezed, etc. So right now we're in very overbought territory, which as a momentum and breakout style trader, you want that. You want it to be overbought. Overbought conditions tend to persist in uptrends. This is a software stock, 9.44 billion, looking to move into the mid-cap space very shortly. So if you're able to grab that, congrats. If not, that's all right. I didn't either. Nice breakout though. GEV, name that we've been opening up over the last 2 days. As long as we're up and over that 183 area, which right now we're just dancing the fine line, there's really no reason to freak out. You can see this is once again a high R to R setup. We're targeting initially about a 4-to-1 and then a 7.5-to-1 setup on GEV. Now this is more of the IPO range that I like to play. I said I like these ranges that get played out over the course of a couple of months. Reasonable to assume that financial institutions were accumulating up here via the VRVP. We've held the 50 RSI essentially since it's been listed. 200-day moving average isn't even on the chart yet because we haven't had enough time here, but with a massive 5.12% ADR, and this is a large cap, by the way, with that type of ADR, which is insane to think about. Most large caps are not moving at 5% per day, even in the tech space. So this is a big mover, a good trading vehicle. If we can get up and over and stick this 183 pivot, we're expecting a move up towards the 200-plus price point. We've been going ahead and opening up positions in this for the last 2 days. As long as we're trading above 183, right? Keep the stop loss relatively tight because we're already over range high. And go out there on those fibs. Let's crank this up. If it works, it's going to pay us back a lot. So GEV, and just so everyone's fully aware, this is a spinoff of GE in general. General Electric split into 3 different tickers, right? General Electric is now GE Aerospace and Defense. GEV is General Electric, and it is the consumer-facing stuff, right? It's the appliances that everybody has inside of their house. And then GEHC is their healthcare spinoff. So all 3 of those, which are all large caps, you can trade now. So GEV giving us an IPO range breakout high up and over that pivot there. The only other one on here that we are looking at potentially owning, I know there's Birkenstock and ONON, and neither of those are necessarily bad. We stay away from IoT because it's not the cleanest trading vehicle, but we do like KVUE, and this is going to be one of the slower moving IPO range breakouts that we're looking to take advantage of. So every other one you saw was 3, 4, 5% ADR. This is a 2.44. So for the guys and girls that like to trade things that move just a little bit slower, this is a consumer staples related name, I believe. Consumer durables. It is household and personal items. For those of you that are fans of stage analysis and Wyckoff market model, this is just essentially a stage 1 into a potential stage 2, an accumulation into a potential markup period, right? Upward sloping 200-day moving average with price up and over it. Not technically in a bullish momentum regime right now, but we are in overbought territory, which we like to see during breakouts. 2.44 ADR. We were just talking about how this one's going to move just a little bit slower, right? A little bit slower, so people can take their time a little bit. This is a pretty good options trade as well as a shares trade, as long as your expectation is that it's not going to be 1,000% winner tomorrow. You're probably going to have to stick with this for 6 months. But these stage 2 breakouts have been one of the highest performing setups we've had all year, right? You have these big, nice bases here. Stage 1 accumulation, which we can validate over here with the VRVP of that classic mountain style of accumulation. The one thing about KVUE that does give me a little bit of hesitancy is the overhead volume that we're going to be fighting through in between 23 and 24 bucks. That's not a small amount of volume there. For whatever reason, there was a lot of accumulation KVUE right here. Now, whether or not that turns into overhead supply or not, I would view it as a potential impedance for whatever breakout is coming up and over 21.5. So normally we would expect these things to give a pretty good shove right off of the risk on level at 21.5, get us up there into some free plays, right? 100% plus on those options contracts. But in this case, I think it's going to take a little bit longer to get up and over the 23 pivot, right? We have that high volume node there that once again we can see on that VRVP. So if you're trading KVUE, by the way, it's a good breakout. It's a nice stage 1 into a potential stage 2. It has all of the right indicators from a technical standpoint that this should continue higher. You're just going to have to fight through some overhead supply to get there. So if you do take this trade, which I know a couple of people inside of the Discord already have, the expectation should be set that you should not expect this to be 1,000% winner overnight. Some of them, they do move relatively quickly, particularly this from this scan. They move really fast. KVUE's probably not going to be one of them, right? Not a bad trade once again, but just set your expectations right. So once again, that is the Future Leaders Report. This is what makes it so great. Recent IPOs, market doesn't really know what to price these at, particularly those that came into the market back in 2022. Bear market, they get IPO'd, they absolutely just shit the bed because everything shits the bed, and then they build this big, long base where financial institutions are going out there and accumulating them like crazy. And then during bull markets, you see these things break out and absolutely rip because financial institutions have had enough time to actually grab whatever they want to grab, and then obviously retail traders get the pittance. As long as we can grab it at the right level, I don't care if we're late outside of financial institutions. We're riding their coattails. That's totally fine. A good list here. And like I said, a bunch of these we already have positions in right now. So there's nothing that we need to do here except let these things continue to work. Okay. So if you have any questions regarding the Future Leaders Report, feel free to leave them in a comment below. Individual stocks on this specific report, I will help you out. If you're inside of TTI in that market research portal, leave a comment on the actual post and I'll make an individual video depending on what the question is. All right. Don't give up on these things. This is the right market environment to be owning these small, mid-cap, and to a certain extent, large-cap recent IPOs. They've been our biggest winners this year. There's no reason to expect them not to be in the future. My name is Hamilton, here with the Trading Initiative. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below.